So, the Adrian Perkins, well, let's go back a little bit. A couple of weeks ago, when the rumors were first in the air about the possible Perkins run for the United States Senate, did you think there was anything to it? Did you dismiss it? What were your initial thoughts?
When I first heard the rumors about 2 weeks ago, my first thought was it was really just sort of rumor, just sort of that trying to scare Cassidy, maybe trying to build some name recognition. But then you started to hear more and more, like film crews were here, like campaign staff was being hired, and it really appeared that they were trying to put together a serious run at Senator Cassidy.
In your mind, is it something that was, I don't want to use the word thrown together, but would this be something that would be considered late in the I don't want to say late in the race, because the race hasn't really started yet, but you know what I mean? Is he late to the table, as it were?
Well, I think he's late to the table in terms of the candidate. More interestingly, when you really start looking at this, he's got a very serious campaign team. There are people behind him. There has been some money invested in this race. And so on the one hand, it's maybe late to be breaking and the people in Louisiana see it, but we've also been kind of locked down and gone away for a couple months. But then if you step back a larger step and you realize that the U.S. Senate, which is really the key to politics today, the White House can change, the Democrats currently hold the House, but the U.S. Senate is really the key to everything. And right now it's sitting at 52-48, and the way politics have shifted the last 4 months, I think the Democratic National Committee, the Democratic Party is saying, if we can win 2 seats, if we can win 3 seats in the Senate, that's a game changer for everything. So I think Senate races became very attractive to them over the last 3 or 4 months.
I know that you have, your fingers in the air, and public opinion locally is taking this less than serious or seriously. But I said to Pearson Cross yesterday, I said, the fact that so many millions and millions and millions of Bloomberg dollars may be coming to the Perkins campaign, that I'm talking about Bloomberg now, and his money could be the big financial backing for Mayor Perkins in this race, and the fact that there are so few other serious Democrats, does that sort of automatically put Perkins in a runoff one-on-one against Senator Cassidy after the jungle primary?
Well, I haven't looked at the entire race yet. Depending on how many people get in, I don't think that Perkins getting in by himself puts Cassidy in a runoff. I personally think Cassidy seems to be a very popular U.S. senator. If you step back and look at the Deep South, not just Shreveport, not just Louisiana, there's really only 1 or 2 statewide elected Democrat officials in the Deep South. We happen to have one of them here, John Bel Edwards. There's a U.S. senator over in Alabama that won sort of an odd special election a couple years ago. That's a statewide U.S. Democratic elected senator, but he's going to probably lose to Tommy Tuberville. So this is sort of a unique, interesting thing to look at. But he does have some serious people around him. He's got some people that come out of the DNC. He's got a lot of John Bel Edwards' former staff people around him. And he's got a lot of people that work with an organization called Gumbo PAC, which has the ability to raise money. So, yes, the Bloomberg money is there, but it seems to be that he's also got the formal support of the state and the National Democratic Party.
Okay, let me ask you this, Scott. In this race, what are voters going to be told are the flaws of Adrian Perkins and the flaws of Bill Cassidy?
I'll go Cassidy first. And so I think when you look at Bill Cassidy, he's a sitting U.S. senator. So what you traditionally go at is either one of two things. You go after his record, which he seems to have a pretty decent record aligning with the Louisiana voter. Cassidy is not an outlier. He in terms of Louisiana voter, he's been very supportive of Louisiana Republicans and the Louisiana mainstream voter. The biggest negative on Cassidy is going to probably be Donald Trump. And that may be unfair a little bit. Cassidy's actually been at odds with Trump on many things, particularly the COVID coronavirus situation. He's a medical doctor. But they'll try to tie Cassidy to Trump. That's where the win comes here, is tying Republicans to Trump. Now, when you go to Adrian Perkins, the biggest problem he's going to run into is once he gets beyond the first 3 lines of his resume, which were great when he ran for mayor, military veteran, Harvard graduate, once you get beyond those couple of lines of his resume, pretty much everything else on his resume he's going to get attacked for. When he ran for mayor, the rest of that resume was a blank sheet of paper. Since he's become the mayor of Shreveport, we've started to fill in a lot of details of what he can do, and I just don't think he has a lot of accomplishments. Before he was running on elect me and I will deliver. Now he has to show that he delivered, and I'm not sure he showed enough in 2 years to say that he's actually delivered anything.
Okay, here's the other thing that I'm concerned about. Where is he on national political issues? I mean, he's going to have to do some serious studying to get up to speed on world affairs, on national issues of importance. How quickly do you have to get that done? And he's got to, I mean, it's like high speed, get it done, right?
He's the mayor. He's got stuff to do, right?
Yeah.
Well, and unfortunately for him, it won't matter where he is on national affairs. He will be where Nancy Pelosi is. That's how statewide races go. He is running as a Democrat. He immediately will be tagged by Cassidy and by the Republicans as being Nancy Pelosi. That's how everything happens, really in every state, but especially in Louisiana. You are the party of Hillary Clinton. You are the party of Barack Obama. Now you are the party of Nancy Pelosi.
But you would assume he's pro-choice then, even though he's a John Bell guy?
I'm not sure that that's going to matter a whole lot in this race. This race is very quickly going to devolve into a party race: Republicans versus Democrats, Trump versus Pelosi, and that's where they're going to try to put this thing. And he's going to wake up in a race that I hope he understands what he's getting into, because this is not a race for the mayor of Shreveport where he was running against a rather unpopular mayor. This is a race where he's running for a U.S. Senate seat, and he's going to be really questioned on everything in his background. Opposition research becomes critical at this level of politics, and we're about to learn everything about Mayor Perkins.
One more quick question, Mr. Scott. You had said earlier in the conversation, you said that what the Democrats in this race will try to do is to attach Cassidy to Trump. I took two things from that. One, that you think that Trump, even in Louisiana, may be a bit negative baggage, as it were. My sense is that except for a very small portion of the electorate, most everybody in Louisiana already knows who they're going to vote for president. Do you disagree?
No, I don't disagree, and I did say that, but let me just qualify that. It may not work. I just think that's the strategy they're going to do. That's where these races immediately become, and especially given that you have such a short timeline. He's not going to have a real chance to introduce himself. He'll spend a ton of money. He'll do nice commercials, and then it's immediately become the attack ad war. Now, he does have, I said, the Gumbo Pack folks on his side that have run that pack, so they know how to play the game as well. But he quickly will find himself being posterized as a Democrat versus Republican. And then you start looking at the national issues. This is simply about trying to get that 52-48 balance in Washington to be the other side. The Democrats could ideally control the House, control the Senate if they can win the Senate, and they're hoping to win the White House with Biden. And I think that's where the parties will play. The Republicans will make it a vote on that, a vote on the Senate, and he will probably run into a lot of problems. I always deal with electability. In full disclosure, I felt that Perkins was highly electable running for the mayor of Shreveport against an unpopular sitting mayor. I think the reverse is here. I think he's barely electable. He doesn't have very much chance at all in this race against a rather popular U.S. senator in what's traditionally a safe red state, Louisiana.
So is he doing this for future races? That's what we're hearing from everybody, that maybe a run for governor or something else down the line.
Well, if you look at the state, and I think you had Pearson Cross on yesterday from ULL, and he made the statement. In Louisiana, the way we have demographics, it's easier for Democrats, for an African American Democrat, to win a mayorship, but it doesn't lead anywhere. And if you look specifically at the city of Shreveport, no Shreveport mayor has gone on to another elected office. There's one exception, that was Cedric Glover, but in full fairness, he went back to his state representative seat that he held before he ran for mayor. So no mayor in the modern history has been the mayor of Shreveport and gone anywhere else politically. It's a dead-end job, and I think the mayor's discovered in 2 years why. Being the mayor of Shreveport is a hard job. It's hard to succeed, And I don't think this mayor has shown any record of success that's going to say he gets to step out and do something else. Now, on his side, there's not many other opportunities in the next 2 years for him to run for anything of significance. So, yes, I think it's 100% about running for name recognition. I really think he's running to help the party, and they're hoping that Biden wins the presidency. And if that's the case, he's hoping to go to Washington, D.C. as some undersecretary of department or within government in some way. But I don't see any opening coming his way in Louisiana, given his track record in Louisiana and given the dynamics of the Louisiana electorate.
So in a word before we go, and thank you very much, Scott Hughes, he's on his way out of town one way or the other.
I think Adrian Perkins' time in Shreveport's probably 2 years and counting. I don't see him getting reelected. I don't see him running for anything else. The one possibility that he could have locally would be there will be a reapportionment at some point of the congressional seat, the one that Mike Johnson currently holds as our U.S. congressman. If we were to some way have to redraw lines for Congress and Shreveport were put in with Monroe, with Alexandria, years ago we had what was called the Z or the Zorro district. We actually went all the way down to North Baton Rouge when Cleo Fields was the rep for a few years there. If they redid the congressional district, you might be thinking there's a way I'd have a chance in that. But unfortunately, I think even if they did that, he wouldn't be the candidate that would have that chance. There would be other Democratic candidates, both white and black, that would have a better resume to run for Congress than Mayor Perkins does.